Welcome into Bears Now by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham. It's mailbag time here on the channel. So if you have any questions, use hashtag Bears or Super Chat. We'll get to as many of your questions as possible. We'll start with Levante Rogers, Simmons, and Buckner for the Bears defense. I don't think there's any scenario where the Bears would trade for both Jeffrey Simmons and DeForest Buckner. One of them, yeah, I definitely think it's possible. Jeffrey Simmons, 25 years old, entering his prime, coming off a really good back-to-back 2 seasons. I definitely think he's appealing. You'd obviously have to commit to a big extension for him. Buckner, on the other hand, 2 years left in his deal, 0 dead cap hit for 2024, so if he didn't work out, you could just cut him next year. Obviously, Matt Eberflus coached him for a couple of years in Indianapolis, so there's pros and cons to both, and I would certainly be interested in trading for at least one of those. From Ken with the 20 Canadian dollars, I believe. Shout out, Ken. I'm starting to think Mooney is on the block. He isn't a polls pick and making JSN a big possibility. Look, if the Bears draft Jackson Smith-Njigba, you got to think there's at least a chance Mooney or Claypool gets traded because JSN obviously wouldn't go anywhere. You just drafted him. DJ Moore's not going anywhere. That was a big priority in the trade with the Panthers. Are you going to keep Mooney and Claypool? Like, is one of those guys going to be your number 4? They're better than that. Like, they can go be a 2 somewhere else. So I could see that, Ken. Him and Claypool are on the last year of their rookie deal. I could see Chicago dealing one of those guys away if they do draft Jackson Smith-Njigba. Where is the beef? Hashtag Bears. Matt Eberflus said he could see the Bears adding a veteran defensive lineman after the draft. Could that be Yannick Ngakoue or someone else? Yes, hopefully. That's my answer. Listen, I think that the Bears need to add another veteran defensive lineman. Eberflus, I think, alluded to the Colts adding Justin Houston when he first got there in 2019, and he had 2 good years in Indy. I think a player like Ngakoue could do the same here in Chicago. 1-2-year deal, bring him in, come rush the passer, and help kind of stem that gap on a short-term basis while you build this roster with young guys. So I'd like to see it happen. Will it happen? I'm not so sure. There's other guys out there that the Bears could consider bringing in as well. Here are like 5 edge rushers I'm intrigued by. Yannick Ngakoue, Jadeveon Clowney, Leonard Floyd, obviously maybe not a great scheme fit, Frank Clark, and Bud Dupree. If you're interested in any of those, let me know who. Type 1 for Yannick Ngakoue, Type 2 for Jadeveon Clowney, Type 3 for Leonard Floyd, 4 for Frank Clark, or Type 5 for Bud Dupree. Let me know who you would like to see the Bears bring in. From Michael Ortman, which cornerback will be available in the 4th round? I think a 4th-round guy, range guy at least. Corey Trice out of Purdue. He's 6'3", 205. Good length. He's a big sleeper for me. Like, I think he has starting potential in the NFL. Kind of broke out in his 5th year of college football last year. Good production, tested well. I like him quite a bit. I think he's a player to watch out for between now and the NFL draft. Cody Munson, if Tyree drops to 9, how do you pass on him? If he's not there, would you take Paris or trade back and take Smith-Njigba? Well, the question is, how far can you trade back to get Jackson Smith-Njigba? If you trade back to like 15, he could be gone. So keep that in mind. Tyree Wilson at 9, yeah, the value feels really good. If he's there, that's going to be tough to pass on him. I'm comfortable taking Paris Johnson there. But, yeah, drafting Tyree, Paris, Smith-Njigba, trading back, like all those options are on the table. You want flexibility, and the Bears have that. Wasim with the 10, all things equal, do you think SEC players are better than players from other conferences? Example, Ricky Stromberg versus Luke Weipler. I mean, I don't think Stromberg's better than Weipler based on the conference he played in. I would say in general the SEC produces the most NFL draft talent, but the Big Ten produces a ton. Other conferences do as well. In that case, I think a lot of scouts would actually go the other way. I think a lot would go Weipler over Stromberg. I actually do like Stromberg better, but it's not because of the SEC versus the Big Ten. I think they're both good players and could both start in the NFL, if not right away, maybe in year 2. Keem78, congrats HG, keep Terrell Lewis. Maybe he'll have a chance on the 90-man roster. Keem is referring to the fact that me and my wife are having a son very soon. Appreciate the love, Keem. We'll see how some of those deeper future contract guys fare this offseason as they try to fight for battle spots. Got to teach baby PJ the FGB mantra at a very young age. You know, we'll keep the FPG, forget Green Bay for his sake, but you guys know what it stands for. FGB, chatsports.com/FGB. Get a t-shirt today, less than $30. Join the movement here. My wife's been rocking my FGB t-shirt recently. She loves it. chatsports.com/FGB. Link is in the comments and in the description of this video. Peloton, is there a higher chance the Bears go corner in the first or O-line? I would say O-line, but I would not rule out corner. I think corner could happen. I think the Bears, I think Ryan Poles has proven, like, he'll probably stick to his big board pretty closely, especially early on in the draft. Let's just hypothetically, let's say Christian Gonzalez falls to 9 and he was Poles' 6th highest rated player on his board. Paris Johnson and Peter Skronsky are there, but they were 9 and 12 on his board. He'll probably take Gonzalez, or he'll trade back. I do think he'll stick to his board pretty closely, so don't be surprised by that. I know people were surprised last year when they went DB with their first 2 picks, Gordon and Brisker, but they're building the full roster still. Like, they're not at a point where they can reach for picks. They just need to get good players. John Elia, am I wrong in saying we should go defensive tackle, right tackle, edge, and corner with our first 4 picks? Not particularly in that order. Yeah, like in a perfect world, you would add 3 players in the trenches in a corner with your first 4 picks, which is 9, 53, 61, 64. But I think we all know better than that, right? Like, there's probably going to be at least 1 trade in there based on what Poles has done. They'll probably take a player at a different position based on their big board. In a perfect world, the big board falls that way, where they can just fill needs as well. But you get yourself in trouble as a young GM if you draft strictly for need. You got to get good players. It doesn't mean they're going to take a quarterback at 9 or something like that, but I think you got to build out the entire roster. From End Zone Football, do you think O-line or D-line is more important to the Bears right now? I love the content. Keep it up. I think, maximizing Justin Fields' potential this season is most important, so I'd go O-line. Long term, I think the defensive line has more holes to fill. You look at this defensive line, there's still an argument to be made that you don't have a single long-term player on this defensive line. Even DeMarcus Walker, who signed a 3-year deal, he could be here 2 years and cut. Like, that's very realistic based on his contract. Dom Rob, Travis Gibson, young guys, there's no guarantees there. Billings is on a 1-year deal. Justin Jones has 1 year left on his deal. Like, at least with the Bears' offensive line, like, you look at the O-line, you're like, Braxton Jones, he's got 3 more years on his rookie deal, and if he continues to improve, he'll get a second contract. Tevin Jenkins, if he continues to prove himself, he could be in line for a second contract. Now, beyond that, Nate Davis, you just gave a 3-year deal with 2/3 of the deal guaranteed, so he's going to be here at least 2 years, probably 3. So, yeah, I think protecting Fields is more of a priority right now, but long-term, you need more help on the defensive line. Who's your squad? Who you repping this baseball season? Let's hear it. Producer Rolly is a huge baseball fan. I won't tell you his team because actually I don't think it would piss people off. He's a Mets fan. He's from upstate New York, so the Mets are his squad. But if you're rolling with the Cubs, type C. If you're rolling with the White Sox, type W. If you have a different squad, comment below. Let us know who your baseball team is this year. Baseball is underway. Curious to see what Bears fans are repping here. Chi-Town Bears time. What about Bijan in a trade back? Again, like, if they trade back to 16 and he's there and he's clearly the highest player on Poles' board, do not be shocked if they pull the trigger on that. Like, am I saying that's what I would do? Not necessarily, but I wouldn't not do it. Just think about adding Bijan to this offense. Bijan Robinson could be absolutely explosive next to Justin Fields. You think about a Justin Fields, Bijan, Khalil Herbert, Deontay Foreman run down your throat offense. That's pretty exciting to think about. Bijan can catch the ball as well, and the fact that you have Herbert and Foreman too, you don't have to run Bijan into the ground his first year. You can kind of go by committee in that scenario because you've got depth at running back here. Even Travis Homer is a scat back. I don't know what Treston Ebner's future is. We'll see. You've got Blazingame who could blow people off the ball as a fullback. So, yeah, I wouldn't rule out the potential of drafting Bijan Robinson either. Martin Melhuse, Houston general manager Nick Caserio picks Will Anderson at 2, then trades up to 3 to take his quarterback. Comments? That could be interesting. He could also take a quarterback at 2 and trade up to 3 to take Anderson. He could do it in reverse. I don't think it really matters. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he could do that. There's some buzz that the Texans may not go quarterback at 2. I think that would be a mistake, but maybe they won't. Who knows? The Beast Gaming, out of these 3 players, who would you like to extend? I think you meant Kmet, Mooney, and Claypool. Assume they have solid years. I mean, if they all have good years, I'd probably want to keep them all, to be honest. If I had to pick 2, gosh. I think Kmet for sure, to keep him as your tight end. And then just whoever had the better year out of Mooney and Claypool. I like Mooney more right now, but if Claypool has a better year, I would probably go that way because he's 6'5", 235, and you don't have a receiver like that. So if Claypool outplays Mooney this year, I'd pick him. But if things were equal, I'd probably lean Mooney because he's been more reliable here in Chicago. Corey Harvey, I would say Johnson at number 9. Foskey, I think he meant 53 there. Banks 61 is my first and second. What's your take? I mean, a Paris Johnson, Isaiah Foskey, and Deonte Banks trio to start your draft would be pretty solid. I mean, Banks, I think, has starting potential. He's got really good athletic traits. Foskey as an edge, I think he would start here, and Johnson would start at either left or right tackle. So really good chance you're getting 3 starters there. And I'll say this. If the Bears don't trade any of their first 4 picks, 9, 53, 61, 64, at minimum you need 2 day 1 starters, if not 3. You'd like to get 4, but you got to get guys that can play and can play right away. Couple more here. Joe, sports fan, reports that the Bears will play the Chiefs in Germany. Will international game help Bears instead of going to Arrowhead? Yeah, I have seen that out there. David Kaplan, that has not been confirmed, I don't think, at this point, but that'll be a fascinating international game if it ends up being the case. You got this up-and-coming Bears team going up against the defending champs. That would be an electric environment in Germany. I know we have some European fans here on Bears now that maybe they could travel to that game, so who knows? Arrowhead's a fun place to play as well. If the Bears have any chance of beating the Chiefs, it would probably be in Germany compared to Arrowhead. So, you know, you got that working for you. Nicholas Ritchie, I know y'all talked about Poona 4. Can he play 3-tech? Would the Bears be interested? He's not really a 3-tech. He's more of a bowling ball 1-tech. Doesn't mean I'm not interested, though. You could go kind of with a platoon at 1-tech with him and Andrew Billings. 1-tech's got to rotate out a lot. They're big boys. They're not playing 90% of snaps. So I would like a Ford and Billings combination. Appreciate all the questions here. If you have more, you can DM me on Twitter and Instagram at HGramNFL. Always down to chop all things up Bears over there at HGramNFL on Twitter and on Instagram. Appreciate the questions. Show me some love over there as well if you have any more questions.